What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Team SWARTZ. In this video, I'm going to be discussing with you updates to my previous video dealing with Christmas Exodus, or what we refer to as holiday block leave, around the Christmas time while you're at Army Basic Training, AIT, OSA, OCS training, airborne, what have you. If you are in a training environment, this is going to impact you. So if this is your first time here on this channel, I post a ton of Army basic training, recruiting, and other Army related videos. So if that's what you're into, consider subscribing to this channel. I go live weekly, giving you updates, answering your most desired questions and concerns that you may have pertaining to joining, going through the enlistment process, or going through Army basic training. So that being said, I'm Sergeant First Class SWARTZ, your local New York Army National Guard recruiter, conveniently located in Manhattan in New York City. I am a virtual recruiter full-time, so I can help you out anywhere you're in New York. I'm also a part-time drill sergeant with our respective recruit sustainment program. So that being said, like I said, I am a recruiter. So if you're in New York, hit me up. I'm going to post my number here and pin it towards the top. You're going to shoot me a text message, put me in boots if you are interested. I'm going to be going over what holiday block leave is, who does it apply, when does it go, what are some of the details, restrictions, things that may impact your holiday block leave for your soldier in training, or SIT for short, if you see it in text. So yes, so do me a favor. If you can hear me loud and clear, Lima Charlie, do me a favor, put in the state that you are tuning in from. And if you are here for the replay or the rebroadcast, put a hashtag replay down in the comment section. That would be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So let me pin that up to the top here. Oh, lost it. Got a lot of people coming in here. All right. So with that being said, holiday block leave, or Exodus as we call it in the Army, is essentially a blocked period that we set aside for both the cadre and the trainees at the training sites. So the exact dates, because I keep getting asked, what are the exact dates? You know, I'm planning a wedding, or I'm planning this, I'm planning that. Your soldier in training may be in a position that want to surprise you, so they might not give you the exact dates. Now, it's going to vary from site to site. So the generalized answer to what are the dates for holiday block leave for any trainee, again, this is going for any trainee that's currently at basic training, AIT, your advanced individual training, your OSA, or your one station unit training, usually your tactical MOSs, your combat MOSs. If you're in OCS, airborne, or if you're somewhere in between that transition from basic training, AIT, or to your next training installation, whether you are a hold under waiting for the next class, or a hold over before you move on to your next class. This also will apply to trainees that have completed all of their initial entry training and waiting to PCS, or basically go to their permanent duty station. This is who that applies to. So if you are currently as a hold under or hold over, or in the actual training environment conducting actual training between December 18th ish, plus or minus a few days, right? The last 2 weeks of December through the first 2 weeks of January. So your trainee are going to receive those exact dates from the training site. They are not going to publicly state from Fort Sill, from this company, the exact dates are going to be this in public, due to OPSEC, or that's short for Operations Security, for the safety of the soldier. So with that being said, to get the exact dates, you're going to have to wait for your trainee to inform you, either through snail mail, or if they get access to their cell phone, they'll either text you or call you. And if they're not calling you, I guarantee you they're calling somebody else. So mom, dad, if your son or daughter doesn't contact you when they have phone access, they're probably calling their girlfriend or boyfriend or whomever. Okay. So that's that'll adjust the date. So Fort Sill openly said on their Facebook virtual town hall live stream this past Thursday that around the 18th of December through Monday, the 4th of January are the bulk of their dates for holiday block leave. Now, it's going to vary from site to site, but again, plus or minus a few days. But they will be home for Christmas and more than likely home for the new year. So with that being said, that covers the date and the who, okay? And there were rumors going around through recruiters or possibly the drill sergeants telling the trainees that holiday block leave might not happen. Anything is possible. It is the Army. Anything is possible. It could get canceled last minute for safety reasons. If things go left, then, they'll adjust fire. But as long as things keep going according to plan, every time they do their virtual town halls every 2 weeks on their respective official Facebook platforms, when they do their virtual town halls to talk about basic training and all that good stuff, they've been consistently saying it is definitely happening. It's not only beneficial for the soldiers that are in training, but it's beneficial for the cadre, so that gives them a time to unwind, spend some quality time with their families and so on. So it's just as important for the cadre, the drill sergeants and all the cadre that are connected to the training sites, along with the soldiers. Now, with holiday block leave, everyone is going on block leave, whether you want to or not. Okay. So that's not a choice. You cannot, I feel for you. I empathize for you. When I was in basic training, I literally had 1 week left and I had to go home on holiday block leave. They don't care. You will go on block leave when everyone goes on. Now, you have two choices. You can either stay at the training site, which they don't prefer because they want as many cadre members taking that block leave to spend it with their loved ones. Now, granted, when I get to that in this video, not everyone is going to be able to go home. And I'll tell you why, due to some of the restrictions due to COVID. So with that being said, you will go on block leave for 14 days. And that is chargeable leave. So depending on the length of your training, you may not accrue or earn enough leave. So in the Army, we call vacation days leave days. And you will earn 2.5 days of vacation time called leave per month for every month that you're on active duty full time. Okay. So if you're on leave for 14 days, you do the math. That's how long you would need to be in training. And this is only a concern more so for a reservist or a guard member who's going home on block leave, because active duty, you're eventually going to pay those off in the long run anyhow, because you're active duty. You're going to go right to your permanent duty station and drive on from there. So this will impact more so for the guard and reserve. Okay. So with that being said, some of the dependents or family members or significant others have been asking me lately, we want to get married. What are the exact dates? Is it going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. Listen, I'm not going to tell you not to get married, but that's a serious decision. And my advice to you is I'll get to, how getting to the permanent duty station work, and, to plan like an actual wedding. A safe bet is between the 20th and the 28th, okay? Closer to Christmas, because that is when you're guaranteed, no matter what, to be home, right? But it's very hard and probably going to be very, very expensive to run an event around that time frame. Who knows? Maybe we get a really good deal. However, what I would recommend is, just for now, especially if you want to be in the system and to be able to PCS to the permanent duty station later on, maybe you might want to get married at like City Hall and just like do a little quick, hey, hurrah, I'm married. Great. Here's your certificate, post it on the wall or something. But so, because it's going to be a while if you're an active duty soldier to have an exact date to plan for a wedding. And even then it could get canceled. So it's a difficult scenario, but you just hear me out. Okay. So if you have plans, something like that, like a wedding, scratch the wedding plans, just get married at City Hall for now until they get to the permanent duty station and they get in processed and they can coordinate their leave from there with their chain of command through their local leave policy. So with the restrictions to the holiday block leave, everyone is afforded the opportunity to leave the training installation to go on block leave. It doesn't have to be your home of record. It could be anywhere within the United States. And while you're home at your home of record, I'm sure there are restrictions that the training site will tell you that there has to be a certain mileage that you have to be constricted to. They don't have a chip in you. They're not going to know where you're going. So if you want to go from one state to the next, if it's within a reasonable distance and you're exercising, social distancing, and whatever restrictions that they give to you as far as social distancing and all that stuff to limit the exposure or potential exposure to COVID, then you'll be fine. Okay. So with that being said, the main and only restriction that you have when going on block leave as far as destination is concerned is, let's say you're from Hawaii or Puerto Rico or Germany or some other country that has or requires a 14-day self-quarantine as a requirement before going to that country or island or what have you. You're not going to be able to go there. And the training sites are going to have these locations probably on a spreadsheet, letting you know if you can go there or not. If you can't, and you have family or friends at an alternate location within the main body of the United States without any restrictions, then you are fine. Okay, then you can go wherever you want. So if you have family in Hawaii and they plan on being in the US, in California or somewhere else, you can link up with them over there. Or you could tell your family that's in Hawaii or Germany or whatever to meet you at a location within the US. Now, at the training site, you're going to have very limited to no communication as far as like having the freedom to pick up your phone and make those types of plans and coordinate with family. So it starts now with the letters. So those are the restrictions as far as the 14-day self-quarantine requirement for other countries or restricted areas like Hawaii, who have a very strict coronavirus restriction with the quarantine. So with that being said, the other restriction, the unfortunate thing that could possibly happen to your training or trainee at the training site is if they in fact catch COVID or are within close proximity of someone else who tests positive for COVID. So what they're saying during the virtual town halls is if they in fact are testing positive for COVID, they cannot in good conscience release them to the public while they have signs and symptoms of COVID and testing positive. However, if they are asymptomatic, they're not showing any signs or symptoms, but maybe possibly tested positive, if you are within a reasonable travel distance, and this is going to be contingent on the training site and authorizing this or not, Fort Sill is entertaining it, that if they can have the soldier meet you basically at the front gate through POV, personally operated vehicle, to go home from there, if the family is willing to assume that risk with them testing positive, maybe not showing signs or symptoms. If the family is willing to accept and assume that risk, then they're willing to entertain that idea, at least at Fort Sill, based on their town hall. Me personally, I don't see how they're going to authorize that in the long run. So just keep that in mind, okay? So if they're testing positive or within close proximity to somebody else, usually within 9 feet. So if they're a bunk or two away from that person where they bunk in the barracks, if they test positive for COVID, they're going to isolation. If they're, in quarantine. I forgot quarantine, isolation. So one is quarantine and isolation. I believe quarantine is for those who are asymptomatic and maybe near somebody who tested positive for COVID. But if you actually test for COVID positively, then you're going to isolation for 14 days, a minimum 14 days. It could be longer than that, depending on whatever their protocol is. So those are your restrictions to holiday block leave. Now, if you are in fact, you or your trainee is in quarantine or isolation during that time frame for holiday block leave, I asked them directly if they have time left on their holiday block leave, they can go home for a few days until that block leave is over and then come back. So they're not going to be afforded the full 14 days as a normal soldier would. So as long as they don't have COVID, like I said, or within close proximity, stuck in isolation or quarantine, they are afforded to go home. But as long as they're in isolation or quarantine, they could not in good conscience release them to the public, exposing everyone else and ruining their bubble. So with that being said, so that'll cover the restrictions. Now, when you go on holiday block leave or when you join the Army, essentially, we pay for all your travel. to and from training. However, comma, this is holiday block leave, which is personal. So although you are being forced on holiday block leave and to take this vacation time, you earn the vacation time, right? So you're not paying for it, but if you do not have a long enough training period to cover those days, you can possibly make it up during HREP or Hometown Recruiting Assistant Program, and I'll cover that in a second. But going back to my other point with the cost of travel from the training site to your home of record and back to the training site to finish your training, because this is personal leave for holiday block leave, the cost of travel will come out of your pocket at some point out of your paycheck. You can opt to stay there. They will have some sort of entertainment for you while you're at the training site, so you don't have to spend money on travel. And the question I get all the time is, can the soldier coordinate themselves or have family members coordinate travel with them? The only problem is dates, right? You don't know the exact dates. Things could change. And if for some reason they don't make that flight or that bus or that train and you prepaid that, you're not going to get your money back. However, if you allow the Army to coordinate the travel from the training site to home of record and back for that training period, although it may either be just as expensive as you get locking it in or getting it cheaper on your own, if the Army is the one that schedules it and for whatever reason the Army changes whatever, there's no money that's getting lost. No one loses out anything, and they'll just get coordinated for the next flight, train, bus, what have you. Okay. My personal advice to you is just allow the training site to coordinate the travel for you because of that insurance policy, basically, that if it's canceled for whatever reason, no one's losing money. Because if you schedule a flight for them on a particular day and they failed to show up, you're not getting your money back and you've lost hundreds of dollars for that flight or what have you. So the cost of the trip back and forth is on the soldier because this is your personal leave. To and from training for Army purposes will be covered by the United States Army as a whole. So let's talk about Hometown Recruiting Assistant Program. So HREP for short is your Hometown Recruiting Assistant Program. Due to COVID restrictions, Hometown Recruiting Assistant Program, regardless if it's in your contract or not, and this is directed towards active duty soldiers only, normally if it's in your contract, once you graduate from OSA or AIT, and eventually maybe airborne if it's back-to-back, if that's in your contract, essentially before you go to your permanent duty station, you would be afforded the opportunity to go home for 7 to 14 days to conduct Hometown Recruiting Assistant Program at your hometown, working at the local recruiting office for that duration to spend time with your family before you go on active duty. So essentially you're working, it's kind of like a work paid vacation sort of thing, right? So during HRAP, in that sense, you would go home, work with your recruiters, and spend time with your family, and then eventually go to your permanent duty station once that HRAP time is up. But again, that's been canceled due to COVID restrictions. However, the HRAP that I'm referencing is during the holiday block leave. What I would impress upon you is to contact your active duty recruiter or Army Reserve recruiter and find out what their guidelines are. The National Guard Bureau has approved the HRAP for the National Guard. However, it sounds like it's up to the state, and I'm going to read you the SMOM that was sent out to us earlier last month, okay? And just bear with me because there's something that concerns me. So you may want to go home and do HRAP to offset the cost for the leave days that you have not actually earned yet, right? So if you have a short MOS, and you're only there for 18 weeks or so, you're not going to earn enough leave days, if that makes sense. So with that being said, basically, I wanted to read it verbatim, but it's up to the state, right? The HRAP portal does not capture Army National Guard soldiers. I don't know what that is. Therefore, participating soldiers must obtain an approval memorandum from their state or territory recruiting and retention battalion commanders, in addition to the production recruiter, officer strength manager, and warrant officer strength managers. That's more or less for people that are in WOC school, warrant officer candidate school, and OCS, officer candidate school programs, okay? And they are providing recruiter assistant functions. So And then it lists restrictions to certain activities that they can or can't do. But essentially, with HRAP, it's paid vacation days. So you're working while you're home, right? Yeah, I know, right? So bottom line is, it is a possibility, and it's up to the state battalion commander for the recruiting and retention command to authorize you to do HRAP. I have not gotten confirmation yet if New York is going to be participating in HRAP. My honest opinion, don't even worry about HRAP, right? Just spend that time with your family. Don't worry about the couple $100 that you may or may not lose due to the accrued leave days that you may or may not earn while you're in training. Just spend that time with your family. And if you have a good recruiting station, you might only come in for like a couple hours and whatever, and then go home. Most of the recruiting activities is not face-to-face anyway, so I don't know how HRAP would work. Maybe you just clean the armory or something like that. I don't know. But, you know, we as recruiters, we want you to spend time with your families. Like, we want to spend time with our families. You know what I mean? Now I got to come drag myself to work, not put in leave, and then, you know, basically, lack of a better term, entertain or babysit you for a few hours while you're there, give you something to do, right? So with that being said, oh shoot, there was one more bullet point that I wanted to reach out before I open it up to questions and comments and possibly concerns and so on and so forth. So the last thing I wanted to explain is PCS, because that's a question that wives, parents, family, and friends that are always commenting during the virtual town halls. Whoops. So with that being said, for your family to PCS to your permanent duty station, a lot of questions that they get all the time is, can I meet with my soldier at the AIT, OSUT site, or what have you, and then go to the permanent duty station from there? The answer is no. Due to COVID restrictions, they're in a protected bubble, as they like to call it during these virtual town halls. So essentially, they're going to be as a holdover, right, after they graduate from AIT or OSUT, and they are awaiting for sterile transportation from their training site to their permanent duty station. And on average, they're saying it takes 1 week to 4 weeks on average to get to their permanent duty station. Now, depending on the sterile transportation and the restrictions from the gaining permanent duty station, there may be a 14-day self-quarantine requirement once they get there. If that is the case, then they're going to have to self-quarantine for 14 days. Once they complete that self-quarantine for 14 days, then they have to in-process with their gaining unit. And then after they in-process, they're going to coordinate and schedule your PCS of your family and give you a specific time frame, or leave days rather, for that specific reason, to PCS your family from your former home of record to your permanent duty station, and then transfer, like I said, all your family members, right? That's how it's going to happen. You're not going to get leave after you graduate from training again, other than holiday block leave. Yeah, exactly. PCS sucks. So once you graduate, you're going to go to your unit, you're going to in-process, and then your PCS move of your family from there. So those of you that keep asking me, well, I want to get married, or we want to get married. Hopefully it's we, not just you. But, okay, if you are trying to get married and you want to push it until later after they graduate, because that's what your active duty recruiter is telling you, it's going to be difficult because you don't know when they're going to approve the leave. It is up to the company commander to approve your leave. Now, company commanders are supposed to be very flexible with graduates from AIT or OSUT to allow them to take some leave to spend time with their family, because they know that you've been in a training environment for over 4.5 months, right? Some of you have been in training for almost a year. So they understand and they're empathetic, and they should be allowing you to go spend time with your family. But with that being said, it is up to the commander to approve it. So it may be even like months before they get leave to be able to make that wedding happen. Okay. So that's why I'm saying that if you guys are both, in fact, genuinely in love and you want to get married, I suggest that during holiday block leave, when you know that you have that specific time off, go to your city hall or however you do it in your local area, get married, get this marriage certificate, when you go back to the training site, provide your new marriage certificate so you can enroll them into DEERS, get medical coverage and all that good stuff for your new spouse. And then once you get to your permanent duty station, then you can coordinate your PCS move from home to your permanent duty stations. Hopefully that makes sense. But I'm about to open this up to any questions you have dealing with Army basic training, AIT, COVID restrictions, updates. Somebody said something about how does basic training work with the Rona and all that good stuff. So anything that deals with the Rona at a basic training site, this is the yellow phase that basically, oops, here we go. Oops. So let me put this link here. All right. This is still valid. Even though this was like a month, recorded over a month ago, it is still valid today. So when I went through the Drill Sergeant Academy back in June through July, I was one of the first ones to actually experience the yellow phase before it kicked off, right? So yellow phase is essentially controlled monitoring. So your basic training, it used to be 12 weeks. When you got to the training site, you spent a minimum of 2 weeks in quarantine. Then you went through reception for 5 days ish. And then you went through Army basic training. And it wasn't very cost effective. It was causing a lot of pay issues and family hardships financially because they weren't getting paid. So what they're doing is one or two things is going to happen. You'll either go through 5 days of reception and then go to your basic training site and do your 10 weeks of training. And in those first 2 weeks is yellow phase. So they reduced red phase and blue phase to squeeze in this all new controlled monitoring. So during controlled monitoring, essentially, in short, in summary, you will conduct basically all your briefings and classroom time, basically drill and ceremony, and possibly PRT, depending on your on your location. Okay, some locations for some reason don't do PT during that time frame, but a lot of them do, and a lot of it. So just keep that in mind. Or what you might end up doing is going straight to your basic training site, and you will commence red phase training, which is basically your in processing and getting ready for basic training. So once those 3 to 5 business days have gone by and you've in fact in processed that way at the basic training site, once the reception battalion has essentially in processed you properly, then you'll begin your yellow phase and begin your 10 weeks of basic training. So while they're at the reception battalion, as long as they're at the reception battalion, at most locations, you will have access to your cell phone. If you're at the basic training site doing the red phase training, or cycle training with the in-processing rather, with the reception battalion, you're probably not going to have access to your phone. And then once basic training officially starts, regardless of however you get through reception, once basic training officially starts, you will not have access to your phone. It is a privilege, not a right. Mom, dad, I hate to say it, but if your trainee does not call you, they probably call somebody else, because everyone gets afforded that one phone call. Kind of like when you go to jail, right? You get that one phone call. So just because you didn't get the call doesn't mean that they didn't call somebody, or maybe they called you because we don't know what time, whether it's going to be like 4 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock at night. If you hear your phone ring and you don't recognize the number, pick it up, because they could be calling from a payphone or what have you, or maybe somebody else's phone because their phone was dead because they didn't listen to Team SWARTZ's packing list and brought a freaking battery pack, okay? I digress. All right, so let me get through some of these comments. Let me scroll right back up to the beginning so I don't miss anybody, okay? I'm going to do my very best in 1 hour to get through everyone's questions. So if you haven't made it this far into the video, or if you're new here, I'm Sergeant First Class SWARTZ, your local New York Army National Guard's full-time virtual recruiter and part-time drill sergeant. So if you're anywhere in New York and you want to know how the New York Army National Guard can help you, feel free to shoot me a text, put me in boots, to 917-576-3529. And if you haven't done so already, like this video and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. What would be even more impressive to me is to share it on social and tag me in it. That would be amazing. So with that being said, let's get right down into your questions. This live stream is going to be an hour today. All right. So we got Jocelyn. Hiya. Here we go. All right. So my boyfriend is at AIT right now, and I'm wondering about what's happening with the holidays and stuff like that. Just in general, COVID stuff and how it affects things. So maybe this video will do. I addressed a lot of those things. So hopefully that addresses that very question. What's up, Chris? Let's see. Leaving on Monday for basic training. We'll get the holiday block leave. Yes, you will. We got New York in the house. We got Texas. Look at that. Real MVP right here. Melissa says, hashtag Team SWARTZ from San Antonio, Texas. Out freaking standing. All right. So we got Florida in the house, Wisconsin, Texas, Ohio, Arizona. We got Nevada, Florida, North Carolina, Missouri, California, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. What? Yo, you better check that cell. I'm just kidding. That's not you. We got Washington. We got New York. All right. New York is in the house. Represent. We got Colorado, Georgia, Texas again, Oregon, California again, Ohio, Puerto Rico, Massachusetts, Ohio, Virginia, Nevada. Let's see. All right, here we go. I leave for basic this coming Monday. What do I have? What do I come home with for Christmas? We're going to most likely go home in uniform. Possibly the new pinks and greens, because they're already in phase 2 now of issuing pinks and greens, at least at Fort Sill. I think possibly for Jackson as well. Don't quote me on that. But in my opinion, you should be getting your pinks and greens and most likely going home in the new uniform, which looks amazing. I went to West Point PX, Post Exchange, and they have a set on display. And the hat, I cannot wait to wear it, although this is my favorite hat. That's my favorite hat, hands down. But the new, whatever, bus driver hat, whatever they call it, amazing. So we got Oregon in the house, Missouri, Oregon again. My daughter's 31 Bravo OSA was already given her dates, out freaking standing. Let's go. I'm doing a video. Maybe not this week. I have a job fair that I'm going to be hosting, not hosting, but participating in as a recruiter for the state for the next 3 days. And it's 7 hours of talking. So I may or may not record a video, but yes, I will be addressing this very topic in a video. But in short, I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I think we're setting ourselves up for failure. I understand it. I get what I get their intent, because you got to think about it. With COVID restrictions, a lot of the gyms are closed. They just started reopening, and they're probably going to close down again for, when things start popping off again, especially when the second wave hits. However, with not having, whether you're a trainee, well, trainees, in my opinion, they have no excuse. They should just freaking pass it, because they're in a training environment and they're training every single day. However, for the rest of us who don't have access to a gym for one reason or another, how can we expect you to pass without having adequate or full access to the proper equipment? Because now it's no longer just push-up, sit-ups, run, where you could do it anywhere. Now you need equipment. You need the deadlift. You need a bar to be able to raise your knees to your elbows and so on. Kettlebells, a sled dragging 90 pounds. So there's a lot more involved in this new Army Combat Fitness Test versus the old Army Physical Fitness Test. So I don't agree with it. I get the intent. Now, I've been preaching this since day one, since I came back from the Drill Sergeant Academy. This isn't new news, all right? They just extended it for initial entry trainees for basic training, OSA, and AIT, right? So since July, they put out that the Army Combat Fitness Test is no longer for record until 31 March of 2022. However, there was a bullet in there that said trainees at a basic training, AIT, and OSA had until the end of this year before it became effective to actually pass. It was just recently, in the last week or so, where they extended it for the initial entry trainees at the training sites through or up until 2022. So that's not new news. It's new that it's been extended, but it's actually old news. And people didn't believe me. But what happens, Sarge, if I fail? How about you not fail, guy? How about you just do what you need to do and just pass, right? It's not that hard. The minimum standards to pass are not difficult, right? So off the top of my head, the Army Combat Fitness Test are 6 events, right? The first event is going to be the deadlift, 3 repetition max deadlift. Your minimum standards up until 2022 is the gold standard. Yes, it is still MOS specific, but until this transition period, until we get to 2022, the minimum goal is what they're saying is the gold standard, right? So that is your goal. If you fail, it will not be held against you. You will not be restricted to promotions or what have you, okay? If you fail the Army Combat Fitness Test anywhere in the Army as a whole, but we're talking about basic training here, you will move on with your training, providing that you've met the rest of the graduation requirements. They are not holding you back for it. I don't like that idea of that being in place for a training environment where you are actually being forced to do PT every single day, because it's going to make lazy soldiers lazier. So that's why I disagree with that part, right? I think trainees should do it to standard and whatnot. So just because it's not a graduation requirement as of now up until 2022, unless things change and get better, just do your best and pass, all right? Because you have 1 year to get yourself right. Now, is it more physically demanding? Yes. The intent of the Army Combat Fitness Test is not to, I mean, yes, your goal is to max everything out, but the intent is not for you to max out 1, 2, maybe 3 events, smoke yourself out so that you fail another event. It is designed to have you figure out how much energy and effort to put in any individual event to save enough energy or output to complete successfully the entire Army Combat Fitness Test. So just because you maxed out one event and failed the rest of them because you yeeted that one event, they want to see you navigate through the Army Combat Fitness Test and put into what you need to at minimum pass it, right? So right now the goal is gold standard. So I believe it's 140 pounds minimum deadlift, 3 repetition max deadlift. Once you pass that, you'll go on to the hand release push-up. I believe 10 push-ups is the minimum, I believe, 10 or 20, some ridiculous amount. But I mean, they're a lot more challenging than the normal push-ups if you're not used to doing push-ups. Then you're going to do the standing power throw, which is like 4.5 meters. It's technique. Don't worry about the weight. It is literally technique. From there, you will do the sprint, drag, carry. You already know. You sprint down 25 meters. You come back 25 meters. You drag a sled, 90-pound sled. So it doesn't matter if you're 105 pounds as a female or a male. You will drag 90 pounds down and back. You will like a side straddle hop type thing, down and back 50 meters total. Then you will pick up 2 40-pound kettlebells with a total pound or max payload of 80 pounds, down and back, and then sprint down and back. And you have to finish it literally in 3 minutes or less. That is not that difficult. However, if you're like 100 pounds, I could see that being a challenge for you. However, the next event is the leg tuck. And that event in of itself is the primary event that disqualifies most people. Approximately 70% of females are failing this event versus the male counterpart at 30%. I will do my video maybe even this weekend. Who knows? But I will give you my tips on how to improve it, how to do better, and then with my technique, not gas out as fast. Okay. Let's see. Have you ever heard it? I'm not sure what you mean. Hear what from Fort Gordon? Oh, okay. Yeah, Cedric, I addressed that question pretty clearly and concisely. If you want, you can watch the replay. Yeah, so I believe plus or minus a few days, 18 December through the 4th of January, 14 full days, 2 full weeks. When is the last ship date? Probably in December, honestly. The early part of December. Oop, I scrolled down too far. Wow, there's a lot of questions here. Oh, no, I missed my... Oh, man, I unclicked from it. All right, so... What's up, Alex? Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. Not sure. I can only go off of what he told me. He's National Guard, so that could be different from active. Shoot, what were you talking about before that? Oh, Gordon? Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, those are his specific dates. Like I said, the training site will give the trainee the actual dates. You're very welcome, Sunny. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please share this video with anyone else that you know that has a trainee at the training sites. Okay, appreciate you. What's up, Maria? Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you, Campbell. Thank you for all your support. That's good. Let's see if this is a good question. Is getting married going to add unnecessary paperwork? If you were to be back and have different status filing, would it add paperwork? It would make more sense until after basic training. So basically, you're going to need to bring possibly the originals, but at minimum, certified true copies. You can get them at your local courthouse or something like that of their birth certificate, green card, naturalization certificate, citizenship or certificate of citizenship. If they're from another country or whatnot, their social security card, passport if they have one, their ID card, and if I didn't say it, their social security card of each dependent. So your spouse, and if that spouse has a child or if you have a child involved, then you need their birth certificates and social security cards. And if they're from another country, their green card, naturalization, so on and so forth, whatever they have, whatever their documentation is. Just bring that all with you. It's not going to take more than a couple hours to go through HR and get that all done and updated and uploaded into DEERS. It's not that much work. You can get that done. It's not going to be overwhelming to the point where you're going to get recycled with a different battalion or different platoon or what have you. So don't worry about it. Just bring everything with you. In fact, it would probably be easier for you to coordinate your PCS and everything versus waiting a few months to get married and then coordinate it later. But that's just my 2 cents. You do what you think your rank can handle. So is Army posts that do AIT going to? Yes, I already addressed that, Ashley. If you want, watch the replay. Oh, we got people. I just realized people are chiming in. So what's different in this live stream is I can stream to multiple platforms. So today I decided to stream on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. So here we go from Michael on Facebook. Hey, Sergeant, Private Moore here. I'm with the National Guard. I'm dealing at the Lexington Armory. My question is, where do I go to find out about my BAH benefits? Is there a number I can call to inquire about it? I'm married with kids. I was told to speak to Sergeant First Class or Sergeant. Yeah, Sergeant. Yeah, I think that's what you meant. Martinez. Yeah. Can you assist me in seeing if it'll be getting paid for drill plus BAH? I have only drilled once so far. Next weekend is my second drill. I haven't gotten paid yet. All right, so you were misinformed, okay? When you're in a reserve capacity, when you are basically actively drilling as a reserve or guard member and only drilling 1 weekend per month, you are not authorized BAH. Trust me, if that was the case, we'd have the line 100 miles long of people waiting to sign up and only work 2 days a month and get full housing. What? Say less. Sign me up. So yeah, you definitely been misinformed. So yes, reach out to Sergeant Martinez if you're a part of his RSP. I believe he's with Queens. They've transitioned over to Lexington for their drill weekends, and the normal Manhattan RSP split up. One detachment is going to Harlem, the other one's going to either Kingsbridge or Yonkers. So with that being said, if that is your RSP NCO and or your recruiter, it's one form. You need to fill out your DA form 5960. Your wife or spouse should already be in the system when you enlisted, along with your children. And when you're on orders more than 30 days, like when you leave for basic training, AIT and so on, then that's when you'll get housing allowance. Other than that, you'll get basically part-time pay. And here is the calculator to help you figure out what your pay will be based on your rank. So if you came in as an E1, E2, E3, or E4, use this link to figure out what your drill pay will be. You'll figure out what you'll make in active duty as base pay only. If you want to know how much you'll make for housing allowance, this is the link to, and this can only be this BAH calculator can only be used on a computer. It probably won't work on your phone. All right. So I just posted 2 links, one for the basic allowance for housing, basically rent money for your family. And the other one is for your base pay only. Okay. Thank you so much. Real MVP right there. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Egg's your worst nightmare. All right. Let's see. I know I missed my HRAP thanks to COVID. Sorry, bub. No, the live is not over. I'm still here. And how long? All right, we got 45 minutes deep. All right, cool. We got about 15 minutes left. I'm gonna try to powerhouse through these questions and concerns and give you the best possible responses. Accurate and obviously honest. Even if it makes me look bad, giving honest. Fine. If I don't know, I don't know. I'll get back to you. Hallelujah. Welcome back. All right, Nadia, keep studying. You know, that your study habits are everything. Okay. You have to put in the effort to actually learn the material. Yeah, PCS, from what I've heard, it really sucks. Yes, kill Sue 247. As long as it's Army related, you can ask me whatever you want. And if it's of a personal nature and not inappropriate, I'll be more than happy to entertain it. Nadia, so that means from your point of view and referring to the topic about family, it means that troops that are in the Middle East will return home. Huh? Nothing I was talking about today have anything to do with soldiers that are deployed overseas. So if you're referencing the holiday black leave and people that are deployed overseas, no, that black leave has nothing to do with them. I'm just talking about basic trainees that are at OSA, basic training, AIT, OCS, WOC, airborne, those types of things. Ranger, RASP, any type of training like that. They're on black leave. They're going home. Could you explain DEER during holiday block a little and signing up your partner with DEER? It is online. Is anything different with COVID? If you are fortunate enough to be near a military installation and they're not on block leave as well, you would go to the website for DEERs and schedule an appointment to upload all those documents and all that good stuff. All right. Do you know if any OCS has been changed with similar to you? Do you know if they've already completed? They're still in the protective bubble, so probably not doing a yellow phase, but maybe for like a week or so. But they're not going to test you again unless they really feel it's necessary. And that was a question I was addressing as far as OCS is concerned. So you go through basic training, go to Fort Benning, start your OCS. Like I said, you might be in like for a few days or whatever, but as long as you're symptom free, you'll be fine. And as long as you're on sterile transportation, you'll start training, hitting the ground running. Where can I find more about specific fort and their rules? So you can look up their official Facebook pages on Instagram, and you can reach out to them from there if you got any specific questions for that specific post. At least for Fort Sill and Fort Jackson, on the regular, every 2 weeks, they do a virtual town hall. I have not been able to successfully find any for Fort Benning or Fort Leonard Wood. But yeah, I mean, Fort Sill's killing it like clockwork. And Fort Jackson's right behind them, if not on the same level playing field. As far as like giving out updates and all that good stuff and addressing a lot of these concerns and stuff like that. I think you're referencing what uniform. You're not going to bring any equipment with you. You're just going to be in uniform, go home, go on leave, and that's it, and call it a day. Yeah, I adjust the dates. It's around the 18th of December through the 4th of January, plus or minus a few days. But your trainee will know the exact dates. Your permanent duty station will coordinate the exact amount of days. I'm anticipating 10 to 14 days, possibly, maybe less. But it's got to be a reasonable amount of time. But they're also not going to give you a whole month. So this ain't vacation time. It's execute. That's why they're going to coordinate and plan everything. So people are going to come. They're going to pack up your stuff. You're going to pack up probably a lot of your kitchen stuff, but they're come, put everything up in boxes and transport it. If they offer you insurance during transition period from one location to the next, I highly suggest that you do, because if anything breaks, you're going to want that insurance of your stuff. Okay. Just like any other post, doesn't matter if you're at Fort Gordon or I lost where I was. Wow, there's a lot of questions and stuff I didn't get to. I'm probably not going to get to it. I got 10 minutes left. All right, let's go through this really quick. Presuming that you graduate basic IT, does the National Guard help you with job placement? Call your family readiness group, or here in New York, we have a program called the Citizen Soldier for Life, which will help you with your resume writing, mock interviews, so on and so forth. So your state is National Guard state specific. So see if your National Guard has a FRG that helps with those types of things. So look into that. So whether you're a Guard or Reserve, or if you lead active duty, you can go on unemployment for a specific amount of time based on how long you were training and so on and so forth. So unemployment will hold you over, at least hopefully, until you find a job. Hopefully you utilize and leverage the PAYS program at time of enlistment, because that'll guarantee you an interview at minimum with the company, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, so we got, if you're reaching 40th birthday, will they try to get you shipped to basic training before birthday, or since you're sworn in, does that count before turning 40? So you have to swear in on or before your 40th birthday. If you are a waiver or exception to the age policy waiver was approved, you have to sign up before 40, or whatever the memorandum states, that the approval memorandum, whatever it says, that you have to enlist by that date if otherwise eligible to enlist. Is past drug use that big of a deal at MEPS? Should I mention past drug use? Listen to your recruiter. That's all I'm going to say. Express it to your recruiter, and yes, you do need to disclose it. But that's a conversation between you and your recruiter. What is going on with my mouse? Okay, I think I'm going to have to charge it. All right, so when will new recruits get issued the new AGSU at basic training? Because I leave in 3 weeks. I'm wondering. Yeah, you'll be getting them. They confirmed it at Fort Sill on their virtual town hall. If you were reaching your 40th birthday, I think I already answered this. Yeah, I already answered that. Is it true that reservists have to pay their holiday block leave? Yes, I addressed that. You earn 2.5 days for every month that you're in training full time. And if your active duty or reserve offer you HRAP, do it. If you're in the National Guard and your state approves it and will give you a memorandum authorizing it, do it. I prefer you to spend time with your family. That's just me. That's my advice to you. Don't even worry about it. It's chump change. Kill Sue 247. We got Philadelphia, Texas, Wisconsin, New Jersey, Maryland. I don't know where JBLM is. South Carolina. So after AIT training, when I would be able to move my family closer to me? Like if you're active duty and PCSing, I already addressed that. After AIT, when you coordinate it through your unit and after you've been processed and all that good stuff. As a reserve and have a 6-year contract, can you do a 3-year reserve, 3-year active? So yeah, if you in Guard or Reserve and you want to go active duty, then after you've done 6 months with your assigned unit, you can request a conditional release. And upon getting that approved, you take that document and you go to an active duty recruiter, and once they approve it, then you can go active duty. You have 60 days to go active from the date that it's stamped approved. So yeah, you can upgrade from part-time to full-time, but if you go active duty and you decide that this is not for me, sorry, you cannot downgrade. I actually got an approved conditional release from an active duty soldier, and I found out after that by regulation, it's not authorized, regardless if they approved it or not. It's just not authorized. Another MVP, Victoria Sherlin Pena. All right, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Hope all is well. Is the enlistment process the same for active duty as it is for Reserve National Guard? Depends on what part of the process you're referencing. let me know if I get to that question. If you post it later, if not, direct message me on Instagram at Team SWARTZ. Anyone, if I don't get to your question in the next 5 minutes, you can direct message me on Instagram at Team SWARTZ. Right? That's my Insta. All right. I'm more popular over there, but not really, but whatever. But yeah, I answer every single one of my DMs. All right. So shoot me a private message and I will get back to you as soon as possible if I don't get to your question or concern during this live stream. So we got Virginia, Illinois, leaves for Benning, November 17th. We'll get Exodus that early into basic. You get Exodus towards the later part of December. All right. Like I said earlier. It really depends on the length of your training. So I posted somewhere in here the calculator, and that'll be approximately how much you get. So as long as you don't spend your money on some dumb crap while you're in AIT, and you're only getting personal hygiene products, you're coming back home with a good chunk of change, a few $1,000. All right. I don't even know if you're eligible for BH, which will significantly increase that, but at least New York City BH is. My son, after 6 weeks, patience, started basic training this Friday. Outstanding. Congratulations. Good luck in Fort Leonard. All right, Caleb. Good luck. Make us proud, and let me know when you graduate. Sorry for asking this, but what would happen, or what would I know I passed my security clearance boot camp or before boot camp? No news is good news. All right, but I mean, your recruiter can look into the system and see if you're approved or not. Most likely that won't get approved until you're at the training site. That generally takes about 4 to 6 months at minimum to go through your secret clearance, background investigation, all that good stuff. But you should be fine. If you don't hear anything negative, you don't have any questions on anything, you'll be fine. But if you got something in your closet that you're afraid of, hopefully it's not too crazy. Destiny, I'm in the airport shipping for Jackson watching you. Good luck, Destiny. Have fun. Thanks for chiming in. Or tuning in, rather. We got Chicago in the house. Looking to talk to recruiters soon. Outstanding. Definitely go make it happen. Direct message me on Instagram. I got a couple, actually quite a few Illinois recruiters following me, so I might be able to hook you up with a recruiter. So let me know. Direct message me on Instagram at Team SWARTZ. All right. So are you going to take the mark of the beast? What is that? Are you talking biblically? Like, what are you referencing? All right. Yeah, just let me know. Run. You can't buy or sell what? I don't know what you mean. Good luck. I'm going to skip some of this fluff. No, it's just one addendum, but to be brief, to qualify for an enlistment bonus, you have to score 50 higher in the ASVAB, sign up for 6 years, and if you go in National Guard, it's got to be one of our top 10 critical skills, and that is state specific, and it's got to be a true vacancy. No one else can be sitting in that slot. It cannot be an excess slot, meaning that there's another person sitting in that slot, and we're just going to throw you in there anyway. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Yes, you will be going on Exodus in December. Yeah, I get some of these loony bins every once in a while. I eventually have to block some of them if they get extremely inappropriate. Yes, you'll get holiday block leave. Yes, I addressed that unique concern. You will be going on holiday block leave. So for this one, if you did junior ROTC for three or more years, you'll come in as a private E2 pay grade or pay rate of an enlistment soldier E2. That's it. Used to be E3 if you had 3 or more or 4 or more. But not sure what it's compatible with, but I find out it's up to the training slots, and if airborne or not airborne, if Ranger School is filled and all that good stuff. So as of right now, it's not being offered, as far as I know. Why wouldn't you be able to share my video? I mean, you can share it on your main wall and just direct people to your page. Or all right, so there's a lot of good questions here I'm not going to be able to get to. Time is short. I can only come on here for an hour today. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been great. I'd love to help you out some more. If this is your first time here, I post a ton of Army-based training, recruiting, other Army-related videos. I am a full-time recruiter with the New York Army National Guard. So if you're interested, let me know. You can hit me up or direct message me on Instagram at Team SWARTZ. I'd love to help you out. If I did not get to your question or concern that you posted here during my live stream, do me a favor, direct message me on Instagram, and I got you. Say less, fam. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. If I don't see you in the comment section below this video, I will see you next time. Have a good one, and as always, stay